All right, now we're going to put on another one on page 3. This is going to have, it's going to be down here. It's going to touch the top of that green rectangle, and we may have to adjust the size of it later. We're going to place the chickens here, and the chickens have a transparent background as well. It's kind of on a large image, so if I double click, whoops. Okay, I've evidently double clicked one too many times. There we go. So I'll just go straight to my direct selection tool, and I'll resize it and move it in to where I can see it. And wow, I almost got that the perfect size right off the bat. However, if I need to resize it a little bit, I can do that. And there we go. And then I can move it just a shade so there are no chickens being cut off before their time. There we go. All right. Now I'll use my my selection tool rather to click on the box. We're going to again wrap around the object shape. Now when I first do this and go to detect edges, nothing happens. Okay? Not actually positive why that is. However, there's this option here, alpha channel, which helps us out. Now, it does wrap it around some crazy ways, which if we were actually reading this would make it impossible to read. So at this point, I go up here to wrap options and I choose largest area. So it'll wrap it to the left and then it'll wrap it all the way to the right. And again, I can give it 4 points of space, and that will give me another interesting photo on that page. I'm going to go to the last spread, and here you'll probably realize, let me collapse this, that now, and I need to unlock that layer, this has overset text because we've placed enough images to where all of the text doesn't fit in the space. So if I click on that, I can now fill the next frame. And of course, now we're on to page 5. Okay. So at this point, I want to put in a polygon frame. Okay. And instead of, let me show you first off, if I drag, it's going to create, what is this shape? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that a hex? I don't remember which number is that. But anyway, it automatically makes that. If I click, notice that it gives me an option of a specific size. It also allows me to choose the number of sides. So if I wanted to put in, let's say I wanted to put in a triangle for some reason, I could put in a 3-sided triangle. Notice with the star inset, that means that I could make a star out of this as well. So if I click OK, this is putting in a triangle, which I can position anywhere. I'm going to position it up here. Okay. Actually, I'm going to put it on the left. There we go. And I am going to put another rectangle over here. Okay. And then I'm going to go to, I'm going to deselect. I'm going to go to File and Place. And I'm going to choose a couple of them that I have not used yet. Let's get the capuchin and the dog. And I'm going to click Open. And of course that loads it to my cursor. I think I'm going to put the capuchin in the triangle and the dog in the rectangle. Oh, except for that dog is awfully small. I didn't realize how small that dog was. If I go in here if I make it bigger, okay, I guess it'll be okay. It's not making it too out of proportion yet. I didn't realize it was that small when I got it. So I'll go ahead and resize the dog so he fits there, okay? And I will go ahead and wrap that around the bounding box. I will keep it uniform and increase that to 4. Here, I'm going to have to double click. That capuchin is awfully big. And I'm going to need to resize. And I'm going to need to move it because I want pretty much just his lovely little face in there as such. And now when I click on him, I can wrap around bounding box, and I can expand so I have both left and right sides. And actually this one I probably need to do wrap around object shape. However, I need to decide whether I want to do just the right side, and I think that's probably what I need to do because that would make it hard to read in that little area. So I'm using this right side 0.4. Okay. Now, this one right here, I need to drag up the text box because I didn't do that earlier because there was no text in it. I'm going to do that to both. I have overset text, which I need to move here. And I am going to put in, I actually don't remember if I have 1 or 2 more images. I have, hang on, I have, let's see, I have horse left. Cows and horse. Perfect. Okay. So come back here and I'm going to put in not rectangular, elliptical frame right up here, and I'm going to place the horse, and it's a large image, so I'm going to have to double click, and I'm going to have to resize it. So I'm going to hold my shift key down and get it to where, oh, my shift key is not actually dragging it in proportion. Let me try that again. Or maybe I'm not holding it down long enough. There we go. And okay, and then my horse doesn't fit, so I'm going to get my selection tool again, and I'm going to make, let me move that. I'm going to make my ellipse actually a little bit wider to fit it, to fit this horse. Okay, there we go. And now I can actually increase his size just a little bit so that he fits that space better. Perfect. Now, the horse is, of course, a transparent background, so I can use the wrap around object shape. Let's see if it will detect the edges, and I will give it 4 points of space. And the last one I'm going to put in is going to be a rectangle, and it's going to be down here at the bottom, and I'm going to fill both columns. And I'm going to place the cows, okay, and double click so I can resize. Hold down that shift key, and I'm probably going to have to resize my entire box. There we go. That fits better. There. Okay, and I have a little more space than needed, so I'm going to drag that, oops, drag that in, okay, and depending on which arrow you use, if you use the selection tool, you're editing the frame. If you use the direct selection tool, you are editing the picture inside of it. Now let me move this so that it looks like it is centered, and I believe it is. And now I can use this one and increase 2.4. And the only thing that I'm going to say that we need to do is, if you look, there's a lot of empty space here. We could make this graphic a lot bigger. So I'm going to drag up this column, and notice when I drag it up, that one comes down, and I'm going to drag it up until they are almost equal size. So that right there would be perfect. And then at this point, I'm going to hold down my Shift key, and I'm going to increase the size of this. And again, I may have to position it a little bit more in the middle, and that's fine. And then I'll double click so that I can edit the photo. And again, hold down that Shift key. Oops, why is it doing that? Hold down that Shift key so that it is staying in proportion. There we go. And I'm going to drag it down a little bit. Perfect. And then up just a little bit to resize it. All right, there we go. And now we've utilized our white space a whole lot better. So at this point, you have a 5-page article that could be published for a newspaper. Obviously, we would want to go to the Type menu and do a, well, maybe it's not under the Type menu. I forgot where it is. There is a spell check in here. Under the Edit menu, you can do spelling and check spelling. Now, on this particular document, I wouldn't do that because it's lorem ipsum text. So, Command S to save, and then do File Export, save it as a PDF, Export, and then when you close it, you can find your PDF, which I believe is that one, and you can zoom to page level, and you can look at your spread. There you go.